What's going on, everybody? Joe at the Big Sky Model Workshop. Hammering away on the bench here, trying to wrap up my NASCAR group build. I am doing Gary Ballou's 1982 Pontiac Le Mans. And I thought it'd be a good time to show you guys how I do my NASCAR tires and wheels. Now, I am far from the end-all be-all because there are some guys who flat knock them out of the park. Clay Kemp comes to mind. I am not going to go crazy with valve stems or wheel weights or markings like that, but I just do a couple of real simple things. They don't take a lot of work. They don't take any extra parts, but they really bring the tire and wheel up to the next level. And I thought I would just do a little tutorial step-by-step here-ish and show you guys what I do to get my tire and wheel package to look a little more realistic when I build my NASCAR builds. Now, I typically just build cars from the early to mid 80s. That is my favorite era. That's what I like. And so that's what I mostly focus on. This will work all the way through the 80s, early 90s for sure. So what we're starting with here, and this will work for sure on Monogram, Salvino's kits, pretty much because it's the same stuff, may work on AMT. You can adjust to suit. Starting with here, we've got a tire and wheel package. I am building a Salvino's car, which is basically a Monogram Le Mans. First thing we need is the tires and wheels. So I chose, because I like to letter my own tires, I have a set of tires, wheels, and wheel backs. These came out of a Monogram kit. Now, there's two types of wheels when it comes to Monogram NASCAR kits. There is your standard 9-hole, and then there are the 5-hole. Easiest way to find your 5-hole wheels, you can buy them from the aftermarket. I think there's a couple of companies that offer them in resin cast. Just find a Monogram Ford Thunderbird. Almost all the Thunderbird kits from the 80s into the early 90s will have these tires and wheels. These are rated from a Bill Elliott Thunderbird. So that is where we start. We have a set of the chrome 5-hole wheels. We have the tires. These are the ones that have the Goodyear Eagle already embossed on them. And we've just got a set of standard wheel backs. So this is step one. Next up here, the next little phase here, I will show you. I am going to get a tire and a wheel prepared for the next step. Hang on. Okay, so step two is getting tires and wheels sanded down. So this is my setup here. I'm using my cordless drill. I just have an adapter for like a little cordless impact, and I use a 3/8 drive 11mm socket. 7/16 will kind of work. It's a little tighter fit. 3/8 is too loose. 11mm seems to work really well. And it seems to work really well on a lot of 1/24 scale tires, so not just NASCAR tires. And all you're going to do is spin that. You can use a nail file, sanding stick. I'm using a 400 grit here. I don't like to get too aggressive because if you get this too hot or too aggressive, it will ball up and it'll start to do stuff like that there and look blistered. If you want to make them look blistered, like you've got a car that you've looking like it's been raced and battle tested, by all means, blister them up a little bit. And what you're looking to get is you will be just spinning that around at whatever speed and holding the sanding stick against until you get something like that right there. That is just a sanded tread. Now, I'm not 100% done. You can still see a little bit of the mold line in the middle. If you really got one spot that won't go away, just put that at the very bottom so when the car sits on the shelf, you don't have to look at it. Top tip of the day. So that's where we're at on tires for that step. The next step is going to be getting the wheels prepped, and I'll show you how we open up the backs on those. Be right back. Okay, so our next step, we're working on wheels. So what you'll see on the back here, see how they've kind of got a little lip right there? There's like a little added lip. What we're going to do is we're going to open up the back of these. So we are going to grind that lip off until we get this nice and smooth. And when you get close and where you can start to faintly, and I'll do this, where you guys can just faintly see them starting to slide through like that, stop from your grinding tool, stop from your Dremel, and switch to something like, this is 220 grit sandpaper, and just sand them in a figure-8 motion, and you'll get to where they're almost completely see-through, and then just take a sharp hobby knife and clean them out like that. And what you end up with is see-through. They're opened up. Now this works same for the 9-hole wheels too, just the same as the 5-hole, just takes a little more time to clean all the holes out. You don't want to grind all the way till those are see-through because you will blow through one like that. You will ruin it. you will blow through the spokes. If you get too aggressive with your grinding, you want to go at a slow speed and take your time and just sand until you've got it nice and smooth and flat across here, and those will just become ever so slightly see-through. Then you just clean them up with a knife. So I'll do that to all four wheels here, so they'll be nice and smooth. I'll open up those holes, and then the next step is to hit those with a layer of matte clear. You can use any matte clear you like. Mr. Hobby, I actually like a matte clear that I bought from Hobby Lobby that I saw on HPI Guide video. So that's what I choose next. So after I get these all cleaned up, they'll get flipped over and they'll get hit with dull coat so that they have a more natural finish. So that will be it for the wheels. Come back in a minute with a little more on the tires. Hang on. All right, so we're back. We've got a tire sanded, and now we're working on the lettering. My favorite tool of choice is a gel pen. It's just a jelly roll white gel pen that you can get like from Hobby Lobby or any place like that. I'm trying to get this thing to focus. And so they don't have to be perfect, guys. If you look at them in real life, they were kind of stenciled on and they weren't perfect in real life either. The cool thing with the jelly roll pen, you just kind of gently just kind of touch it along the raised portion of the tires. If you want to, you can use, if you have the Salvino kit or whatever, you can also flip these tires backwards and use the aftermarket tire decals. You can do the same thing if you don't want to try to letter them yourself. You could also use craft paint. You can use a toothpick. You can use a fine tip brush if that's your thing. The cool thing is, as you work on these, if you get a little owie somewhere, you can use a toothpick to pick the dried paint off, or while you're walking around, you can just swipe it off with your thumb or a Q-tip and get it clean. So the next step for me, after I get these lettered, is to cover the sidewalls with dull coat, and that's covered, but it's just Tester's dull coat. So I will just brush dull coat over the top. It will seal the lettering so that it doesn't get rubbed off and give this sidewall a more realistic texture and sheen. So that's the next step for me there. So we get these sidewalls done after we get those lettered. Wheels, of course, after you've gotten them opened up, you're going to hit those with dull coat and let those dry. And I apologize for getting this to focus. Wheel backs. Now, I usually paint this side of them black, like a flat black or whatever, to kind of help that wheel shine through. And the backside here, you can do either in a flat black, you can do it in a steel, because you're kind of trying to duplicate like a backing plate, like a dust shield or a backing plate. So I usually paint mine all like a semi-gloss or a flat black. So I will do that to all of those. And when we come back, we should have everything together. All right, guys, so here we go. This is the final product right here. Let me get this to focus, if I will. So we've got our tires, we've got it lettered. The sidewall is painted with dull coat. We've got the wheel done. I used a clear acrylic, but you could use matte clear, anything you like that, just to take the sheen off of that. And then I used a little bit of black wash in the middle around the hubcaps and the hub area. And that's it. So just that far, you go from this to that, just like that, just a handful of steps. Now, you could go that much further with this if you wanted to. You could add a valve stem. You could paint the lug nuts yellow. You could add wheel weights. You could go further if you wanted to, but I just like to keep it simple. I'm not building for contests. This is just a shelf piece, but there you go, guys. Just some simple steps. Chuck the tire up, sand it down, grind out the back of the wheel to open it up, some dull coat, a little bit of lettering time. I mean, it doesn't take much, but it makes a huge difference. It makes them look, I mean, these kind of look toy-like, honestly. They just look like they're for a toy. That looks like a race car tire. So, makes nice for the shelf, small shows. I mean, I'm sure you're going to want to go further if you do a big one, but this is what I like to do. It just gives a nice little extra realism. I'll pop a little picture over here, like right there somewhere, kind of showing how they look on the car. But that is how I do. That's how I do my NASCAR tires and wheels, guys. So hope that little tutorial helps for you. I thought it'd be fun to just try a tutorial of some sort. Hope that gives you some direction. You could use those same tips for literally any tire and wheel combo on any kit you wanted to, for opening up the back, sanding the tread, anything like that. There you go. So hope this is helpful for you. It was fun to put together. I am going to get back to work on this NASCAR build because I'm running out of time. We're down to the wire on this one. Typical me. So next time you see these, you'll see all 4 completed, and you'll see them underneath my Gary Ballou Le Mans. So in the meantime, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for stopping by. God bless you, and I'll catch you on the next one.